My name is Penny Mans, and I think I've introduced myself to all of you already. And just to give you a little bit about my background, so I started off life as a businesswoman. I was a fashion buyer with Harrods and another department store in London. Then I was headhunted by Estee Lauder, and I launched a new business for them called Prescriptives in London. Worked with them actually for 8 years in total. I worked running one of their businesses in Singapore. So I sort of came from a business background. Then I had my babies. So I had 2 girls, and I moved to Australia. And I think something happened to me in having my children, and I've made a lot of money. I've been very fortunate to have been very successful from quite a young age. And so something changed in me, and I did become more philanthropic, and it was this feeling within me that I wanted to put something back. And so I explored lots of things, and I also did lots of fun things for myself in Australia. I learned to fly, I did an MBA, all sorts of things.
The flying girls.
Then when I moved back to England, I actually had an extraordinary experience. I was on Victoria Station, and I met a grandmother selling The Big Issue, and she was homeless. And it so struck my heart that there was this wonderful woman, and a bit like my mother actually, and my train was delayed. So I spent some time chatting to her, and it just touched me so deeply that if people didn't have a home, if I didn't have a home, what effect that would have on my life. So from that, I ended up working for 10 years for a housing trust. But within that context, I actually worked in a very bureaucratic organisation with big boards, mainly with men, and with an energy that at some level was very stuck, but at some level was incredibly creative. And what I realised was I did bring somehow a different dynamic to those environments that I was working in. And when I started to explore that, I realised that sometimes I had it and it worked, and I seemed to bring a more creative energy and help things to move forward. There was a lot of conflict, and sometimes I didn't. So this sort of started my fascination. So then I did loads of self-development. I studied psychosynthesis, I sort of got into the psychological bit. I became a mentor, really explored lots of different ways, and met Sue, as she said, doing body work. So I then got involved in education, some alternative ways of educating children who had behavioural difficulties and learning difficulties and so on. And just all of this unlocking, I think, made me realise that I had some unique gifts that I really wanted to get out there. And Sue and I together said, actually, all of this stuff that we've learned is very rich, and we could put together some courses and they would be very valuable. And then once we explored that, we realised that actually we were really interested in transformative leadership. That's what this was about for us. And Sue comes from a coaching background. And what better way to get to the leaders in this country than through all of you. So that's where we've come from, that's where I've come from.